Welcome to the Do You Get podcast.
Because I don't think they get.
I actually get, but do they get?
No, they don't get. Do you get that they don't get?
They
that
don't
they
get
that
this
they don't get.
philosophy. They
No,
don't get this philosophy.
They don't get it.
We
You
get
don't get it. If you don't get it, forget about it.
Hello. Welcome to the Do You Get podcast. And this is Florence.
Hey guys, what's up? It's me, it's Simi. How are you guys doing? I feel like I keep asking how you guys doing, but nobody can actually respond. So I'm just going to keep it so. But you guys can answer me, okay? You can. All right.
And today we have a special guest. And her name is Adun.
Yes.
Oh my god! I remember the first day that I think I've met Adun multiple times, but that first day that we connected, I was an RA. I was sitting in one of these dorms, and she came by when I was playing Afrobeats. And then from there, we had a whole 1 hour conversation. Oh my god, it was so cool. But yeah, Adun is here, and I'm excited to have her here.
Whoop, 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 whoop.
I'm excited to be here.
So, Adun, how was your week? How was your day? How are you doing?
This week, all I can say is God is good. Because
Hallelujah.
yes, that's it. I'm starting to understand, our parents when they're there and you just see them going through it and they're like, God is good. Because if I say something else, if I say anything else, it would not be good. So, I've had it was a good week. I would say Friday I had an exam. So, y'all, this whole STEM kidney is the Black women in STEM, women in STEM it's not for the weak.
It's
not beans. It's not cake. So, just keep us girlies in STEM in your prayers, please.
Your prayers. Amen. We need God.
It's true.
Gosh.
But other than that, it's been a good week. Yesterday, I cleaned my room. And today, I cleaned my bathroom. And I'm just, feeling real fresh and clean. I'm yes, a good reset. Ready to start over on Monday. So, yeah, how are you guys? I feel I don't know if people ask back, but how are you?
I'm doing good. It's just this working and studying every day. I'm very exhausted, but God is good. Like you said, God is good. I'm just trying to keep it together. Simi, how are you?
It's crazy that everybody had a crazy week because I had this craziest week I've had since I started my 9 to 5. Even my body was just this week was insane. So yeah, I'm happy to be at the end of it. It was tough, but we made it. I learned a lot. I experienced a lot, but we survived.
I'm excited to go lie down and just relax. And
oh my God.
Watch a movie. Eat something nice. But yeah.
Yes.
Crazy. Yeah. So, you already know what time it
shouting.
is. Florence, can I have joy? Can I have peace? Thank you very much. You guys already know. And Adun, I'm sure you know. And if you don't know, you will get to know. It's time for the best part of this podcast, in my opinion, which is the dilemmas. We're going into the blind leading the blind section. And today we have one dilemma. And honestly, I feel like this dilemma is pretty relatable. And I'm excited to hear what you and Florence think. So it goes. Most of my friends are in serious relationships or dating around. I'm open to dating and stuff, but I feel like I'm not getting any attention. I don't want to say I'm jealous of my friends, but I feel like I'm lonely when it comes to that department. What advice would you have for me?
Florence, do you want to go first, or do you want me to take it first?
We kind of talked about the last episode how we both of us, like, we don't have that problem. So it's very interesting. Maybe you go first, and I have to get my thoughts together before I start talking.
Okay. Wow, that is a hefty dilemma.
Yeah.
I would most definitely, thanks to the person for sharing, first of all. And secondly, for me, I guess I kind of had that problem coming up, and then in college, I feel like that sort of, with school and everything, it sort of became less of a priority for me. But the advice that I was given and I would give is like the kind of cliche advice, which is just, keep living your life, focus on being the best version of yourself that you can be. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to be in a place where you want this thing and you might not be ready for it.
Right.
And we tend to like give ourselves a lot like more credit when in terms of preparation than sometimes we owe ourselves. Because for me, it's difficult when you receive something and you don't know how to maintain it and you have to kind of learn on the job. Like, so in this time, like, and me, I just finished saying God is good. Like, I will bring God is like, God's timing is literally always right. Like,
right.
You are in this portion of your life for a reason. You're in this season for a reason, and you will like not regret keeping present in this moment. And something I've heard said is like, never wish any moment away. You won't get it back. There's so much in singleness that there is to be enjoyed. And I don't know, that's what I would say. I feel like it's a little insensitive because I feel like if I were like told that and I had said that, I'm like, what? You don't understand? And I'm like, no, but I do. And I get it. But I think that the best thing you can do is like, don't hesitate to put yourself out there, try new things and all of that, not so that you can get attention, but as you like expand your person, you will, get to meet more people, network more, and maybe that special somebody will come along.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Adun has just put some gems for you.
Yeah, honestly. But like, to add to that, like, I also had that struggle at some point in my life, not with having the pressure from other people, but it's just like, sometimes you just like, I just kind of want this attention. Like, it's a human thing to want people to like you or like crave some sort of romantic relationship with somebody. But I just feel like there's so much more to life. Like Adun said, if you just really focus on becoming the best version of yourself, like, you would at some point hopefully will attract somebody that would match that best version of yourself. Into that, like, don't use that like pressure or feeling of loneliness to drive you into, like Adu said, rushing your season. Just focus on you. I think that's what helped me, just changing my focus from I want somebody to give me attention to like just living the life that I have and loving and learning to appreciate and love the life that I have, and hoping that somewhere along the line when I'm getting more experiences and stuff that I can meet that person. But I just feel like, focus on yourself. It's very cliche.
That's what everybody is saying.
Yourself. Like, that person will come. Don't use that pressure to make you hate like who you are. I think that's my biggest thing. Like, don't hate who you are. Learn to love yourself. And if there's something about yourself you don't like, try to change it so that when you're out there now dating, like, you're now dating with more purpose because you know who you are, you know what you want, and you know that you want somebody to match it. So, I'm in that journey too, so you're not alone. Like, I'm in that journey too.
Literally. Yeah, I agree with everything you guys say. I think the last thing I would say though is like, when you're lonely and like when you're looking at others, like you tend to compare yourself. Don't compare yourself to like your friend's situation. And also like I feel like because we're all young and dating, like on social media too, like dating is also very amplified, and like everyone is like, don't compare yourself to what you see online or what you see like in your friends' relationship. Like, oh, all my friends have a man, why don't I have a man? Am I not attracted? Like they're saying like because you don't have a man doesn't mean that you're not a fine girl.
Yeah.
Like you are a hot cake. You are like like you don't need that as a confirmation of like your sexiness or whatever. Like you are who you are and like stand in that. And I feel like if you do like what Adun and Florence are saying, like, you know, developing yourself and I also like spend time by yourself alone, like that's how you like love yourself and everything. Like I feel like when you have that is I don't like just for I don't say I've gone off topic, but yes. Yeah, like I think those are everything we said. I feel like that's all the advice I would give. So
Yeah. It's tough out here. You're definitely not
like
the only
yeah,
one.
not the only
Even,
one.
even me that is talking, some days I have days where I'm like, dang.
Literally.
So it is what it is. If you
It's
want
normal.
examples, come to us. We're examples of people that
It's a journey for real.
Yeah, for
it
real.
really is. But I mean, I'm just imagining like if you get to a place where like you are enjoying who you are, anybody else would just be like an addition. instead of
Literally.
somebody you have to cling to. That makes sense. But yeah. Girl, we have you in our hearts.
Hey.
Oh my god. So are we ready to go to the news section?
Yeah.
Nobody's giving me a response. So.
Yes,
Sorry.
so we are here. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So we're getting into the news section called If You Don't Get It.
Forget about it.
Stevie, what's going on with you today? You're supposed to be the one to answer this thing. You don't get it.
I said forget about it. I did say
It
that.
took like 20 seconds to say it.
No, I did not. What are you talking about, bro? And then you also said new. This is new. Sorry.
She says she is true to this. She is not new to this.
Literally.
She's
Let
not
them
new.
know.
Okay.
It was quiet because I was like, new. Like, what's going on? This been happening.
Let me continue. Okay, so we talked about last season that we wanted to amplify stories that are not necessarily talked about in our communities and on social media. And so we have Adun today who will be talking to us, Jesus Christ, talking to us
English is
about,
fighting me, and you are fighting back.
about, I beg, English is not my first language. Okay, talking to us about her experience. That's a lie. But talking to us about her experience with Stop! I'm trying to introduce a very serious topic here. What's going on?
Sorry. Apologies.
Excuse me.
So Adun will be talking to us about her experience living with alopecia. So Adun, first things first, we're just going to ask you to tell us about your childhood and when you knew you had alopecia.
Right. Well, again, thank you so much for having me on. I'm so happy to chat and to catch up with both of you. Into my childhood we go. I was born with a head full of hair. As a matter of fact, I was kind of like my mom would get compliments about my hair growing up. So you can imagine, fast forward to now, you know, what a journey it's been. But, you know, I went from having like the longest hair of my siblings. We went to Nigeria one year and we came back and I started noticing that, or my mom would start to notice that like some clumps of my hair would fall out when she would try to like brush it. And it was just more than, you know how shedding works, you know? So it was just more than she's like, what's this? Like, and my mom, to the glory of Almighty, she practices medicine. She's a physician. And so she, you know, the gears were already turning. She was like looking at me, looking for symptoms of anything else. Like, and she actually was the one who diagnosed me, but this is not her like field. So she went and actually got one of her friends that was in the field and was like, oh, I think this is what this is. And then that person was like, yes, this is what that is. So took me to the dermatologist because that's who diagnosed alopecia. This is when I was around 9 years old, and I went, and they were like, they checked me for something else called tinnitus, which was like an infection. It wasn't that. And then they were like, okay, you have alopecia. So, at that point I was diagnosed with alopecia areata, which literally means patchy hair loss. So like just loss of clumps of hair on the scalp. Like that will cause you, like nothing major health wise, like it's just your hair falling out. It's an autoimmune disorder. So your body registers your hair follicles as foreign. So, that's, I had to deal with that when I was 9. I was, it was like my first big, like, oh, wow, what's going on? Because, as a kid, you feel like you're in control, like, you're egocentric. You're like, oh, the world revolves around me. Like, I was still grappling with all of the stuff that can and do happen to your body, your life that you can't control. So it was definitely a lot for me at the time, especially going to school. I went to school where there weren't that many Black people, let alone anybody with alopecia. So it was a little bit difficult, bobbing and weaving in that environment. But I feel like I'm getting into a lot now. But that's basically.
Oh, that's allowed. That's allowed. Because I was going to ask, like, I can't imagine, like, you're 9, like, you are going through a lot already, like normal, like childhood stuff. Like being a 9-year-old is not beans. I'm sorry. It's not easy. And like you said, like you were in a predominantly white space already. So you're already tackling that. And then you had this added on top. So like, how did you navigate that? Like, how did that affect like did it affect like your friendships? Did it affect like how you saw yourself? Like, how did you like take that? And also, sorry, 2 questions. Did you, when you were like diagnosed, did you know what, like, because like when they tell you something when you're younger, you're like, okay, but like you don't really get it.
Yeah.
Like, how did you like did you grasp that noise? Like, oh, this is what is happening, and like this is how it's going to affect me. Like, how was that? Sorry, I gave you 2 questions. But...
It's okay, you're good. For the first question, because I was very like othered in the. Just by the fact that I, like, being Black and then not being American or of American descent, it was just, I had a group of friends who were, just people who were othered in different ways. They might have enjoyed something that was a little less mainstream. I was definitely hanging around the hashtag not like other girls. Girlies. Yes. Shout out to all of them. I feel like I follow a couple of them on Instagram too right now. So if they should ever come across this podcast, I love you and I miss you. I hope you're well. But yeah, that was like middle school. And then like I went to high school and it was like, that's later in the story. But middle school when I was diagnosed, it was just like I went to a private school. We weren't allowed to wear like headscarves or hats. So when I like was trying to wear, all of a sudden my mom had to come in. And obviously when your mom wants to go Black Karen on the school administration, you're just there like, oh my God. And she's just like, my daughter has received a recent diagnosis and please just. And so like the administration, of course, they were fine. But, kids can be a little, be like, we're not allowed to wear hats. And I'm like, well, I got permission. It's like, what's going on under your hat anyway? Are you having a bad hair day? What's going like? And I guess they were really curious. But, I guess at that point, kids are not like taught, people have their business, they have their business and you can mind your own. So literally. I was definitely trying to like find creative ways to like, I guess kind of shuck and jive through all of the conversations. But to the second question, I did grasp it. I think I did definitely. I understood that there wasn't a cure because it's not something you catch. It's not something that's contagious. It is your body thinking that it's doing an excellent job at protecting you and ultimately just, eliminating or erasing like all of the hair. So it's, they wanted to put me on immune suppressants and my mom was like, no, we're not doing that. She's not suppressing her immune system for nothing. It's like, because when you suppress your immune system, you can't fight off infections as well. Yeah, so she's just like, I'm not risking that, especially because a lot of the stuff was like clinical trials at that point. And so she was just like, no, like, we did a bunch of treatments. And,
did you know somebody else that had like any family member? Do you know if it runs in the family or anything like that?
No, but these things with autoimmune disorders, different types of autoimmune disorders are genetic. So like, in my family, there has been a history of like some autoimmune disorders. So I'm not like that surprised with, this nowadays, but growing up, it just felt really random because I didn't know about my family's medical history. So I was like, okay, wait, like now I get it. Like I was like, oh, okay, now things are making sense. But at that point, I was just like, why me? Like what's going on? Why? And my parents, they're like, very devout Christians, very like, you again from the beginning of the conversation, pastor's child type of vibe. Yeah. So yeah, they were just like, at the end of the day, God, I used to ask why me. My dad would say, why not you? And I guess that's, as a kid, I was just like, what are you talking about? I was like, oh God, like
parents are very interested with their outlook. Like, I'm just like, are you actually this positive in life?
I was like, for real? My parents, before I turned this thing into a podcast about my parents, because I love those people to the moon and back. Like, but they're literally, I'm like,
yeah,
okay? Excuse me. Like, you're telling a 9-year-old, why not you? I mean,
thank you.
But like at the end of the day, even like I kind of was able to work it out myself and be like, now I'm like in this life, like everything that happens to me, not to say that God like forces us to go through bad things or designs our traumas and designs our like hurts and the things that are hard for us. But, he's always in the work of redeeming it and always in the work of making it something that, can make us stronger. And if we just let those things, go. I'm about to preach a word. But no, literally, like if we just let LOL, if we just let, those things go and we, stop making it about just me, and that's something I had to grow into as well. So like, it was definitely hard to grasp, but I did grasp it growing up, and I would pray for it to go away. And to my mom, she would also keep praying. Today, she still prays like, oh, one day your hair will come back. And I'm like, girl.
Have you kind of accepted it now?
Most definitely. Yeah. I think that, I guess that gets into the story. I don't know if you'll ask about this later, but it gets into the story of how I like why I don't have any hair now. Like there are people with alopecia who have like full heads of hair. You have to like part their hair a little bit to see the little patches, and then the patches will grow back and then they'll fall out again. And for some people, it's like a cycle. And for me, that kind of cycle perpetuated itself until I didn't have that much hair left on my head. And then I was going to go to school. And I was like 14, 15 at the time. And I told my dad, I was like, I'm tired of wearing wigs. I'm tired of tying headscarf. I'm tired of wearing hats. I'm tired of all of this. Please just, take that thing, go zzz, yeah, just whatever. Please, just, I'm done. And so he agreed and my mom agreed. And that's, now you see Adun's signature look today.
I love it.
And yeah, fun fact is that like this happened right around when the first Black Panther movie was being advertised. So as soon as I walked out of my parents' bathroom, like after my dad had, finished shaving off what was left of my hair, I saw this, like literally the same day, the same moment, I walked out and I saw the advertisement and I saw the Dora Milaje up there just like flash on the screen for a split second. I was like, is this the new car phenomenon? Like I'm bald now and I'm seeing bald ladies everywhere. I was like,
oh my God.
And I was like, I don't know. It really helped. That movie really helped. But yeah, here we are.
Yeah. That I wanted to say like that similar thing happened to like when I cut off my whole hair. Like I started everything on my Instagram feed, everywhere. Every person that I follow now doesn't. It's crazy. It's as if they're targeting you. Like
yes, they're they're watching. They're watching. They're looking at you. Oh.
But yeah, I wanted to ask you about the scarf thing. Like, so entering into college, I know that when I first saw you, like you would always have a scarf on and stuff. But then at some point, like junior year or something like that, like I never like you stopped wearing it entirely, and I noticed that shift. But was there something like about your thought process or anything going on that were like when you came to college, you were wearing a scarf, and then all of a sudden, no, not anymore?
Yeah, so basically, I was just kind of trying to stop conversation because a lot of times when you are different from people, they will ask you a lot of very Googleable questions.
Literally.
And I'm like, I resemble Google for your eye. There, you carry phone around, yeah, watching TikTok. Go and look it up. But
Google is
basically, free. Google is too free for some of the stuff I'll be seeing out here.
Literally.
Too free. So I'm basically, it was just kind of like, oh, I'm in college. And then a part of it was trying to literally just trying to prevent sunburn, because this school that we go to, that we are walking up and down in this blistering... it's okay. But, I would just try, because like, your skin is very important and very sensitive. And I was just trying to prevent like sun damage as well. So this was first year Adun pre-sunscreen days. I'd wear a scarf to kind of protect. And then also to get people to stop at like, they would just, and this is something I know now as well, like people, as soon as they, like if I'm not, like if my head is not out, people don't recognize me. It's actually very funny. Like if I wear a hood or a hat or something and I wave at people, they're like, oh. So I don't know, if I'm trying to be a little more incognito, I'll wear something on my head to like, if I'm not trying to talk to too many people, I'm sitting here divulging my secrets. All of my friends are going to listen to this and be like, I see your tricks now. But yeah, so that's kind of what it was. And then like after a while, I think once I kind of started getting used to the environment, to people, and then people were asking me less, I guess, it was my first year. People are in that like get to know you phase, so they're like, oh, here's something different about you, like let me ask, which is fair. Like, I mean, I was saying that the questions are Googleable because they are, but I'm not coming for anybody for asking or being curious. Like that's the best thing you can do.
I was just going to say, what was the weirdest thing somebody asked you like that was like, okay?
I was asked if it was contagious once. Yeah. Not on campus, so not at school, but like in high school, I was asked if it was contagious. And because I'm a troll, I was like, yes. And then I started running after the person. And I just like put my head down. I was like, ready? And they're like,
oh my goodness.
It was funny. I have also been asked if I have cancer, which, fiakwa. But like I don't know. The assumptions are just so interesting. And then the third thing, and I guess that sticks out to me the most that I get commented, or is like when I go out and I'm not like wearing a dress or something, sometimes people, and it's usually older people, and I just don't know if it's an eyesight thing. I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, but I get called sir a lot more than I would care to admit. So people just automatically assuming like I'm a man, or they're just like, it's interesting to have to sacrifice femininity on the altar of comfort and what I deem to be modesty. So like, yeah, weird stuff.
Yeah. So let's backtrack a little back to high school. And even now, like, would you, like, how has your self-esteem changed or, like, evolved with this? Like, for example, people asking you these stupid questions, and, like, would you say it ever, like, affected, like, your self-esteem, how you saw yourself, versus now where you feel, like, more confident in yourself and who you are?
That's a very good question. I think that growing up, I've kind of given myself like a personality or like heart of steel. You know, when people would say stuff, you know, like when people would ask me like if it's contagious, nowadays I probably like answer them like a serious person. But when I was younger, I would just use sarcasm and all that stuff to kind of like deal. But at the end of the day, it's not ever been any of the spoken stuff where my self-esteem has been affected, because people will come and, you know, they'll say like, oh, you're beautiful and this, that. And I get stopped in the street sometimes and I'm like, oh, thank you. You know, that type of thing. But I'm like, sometimes people be telling me these things in like the weirdest places. I'm like, I'm filling up my gas and they're like, oh, you're so pretty. And I'm like, thanks. I'm like, are you saying this because like you think I'm pretty, or do I need to spray you with this gas? Like, am I safe in this moment? But really, it's like that stuff. Like literally, even to the like throwback to the dilemma. Like I felt like that for a while, you know, where my friends would like date and, you know, or just literally just anything. I felt like it's difficult to kind of feel like you're beautiful when you don't see yourself in places and spaces where, you know, beauty is, you know, discussed or, you know, it's just not a thing. People with alopecia, a lot of people with alopecia work hard to make sure that people don't see like, oh, sick when they see you. And it's because like they think that you don't have hair, you know, you're not well. And, you know, a lot of times people associate those things with cancer. And like definitely heart goes out to all those who are fighting with cancer and dealing with cancer and undergoing chemo. It's just that it's definitely different. And there's been this heavy like medicalization of baldness in women. And, you know, it's something to be fixed and something to be cured. And a lot of times, you know, I went through all the things. I used to get injections in my scalp, and I would go and they would put like anywhere from like 30 to 50 injections in my scalp to get these like topical treatments in there. And I was like in middle school at this point. And a lot of people with alopecia will tell you that they go through all these like experimental things. I did this UV treatment as well, where they would like put UV light on my head, trying to like stimulate follicle growth or follicle like activation. And it's just like at the end of the day, I'm like, what am I even doing this for? I don't want to be spending. It was every Thursday. I remember I would go to these appointments, and I was like, I don't want to spend my Thursday evenings doing this. I'm a kid, like, you know. Yeah. So it's just like with self-esteem, I think that I kind of, you know, would just brush off everything that people said, because I was already Black in a really white space, and this is like white Southern space. So I was like used to it. But, you know, growing up, it just kind of is hard, you know, when, you know, people would, you can hear the conversation around you shift a little bit. You know, when you were little, it's like, oh, yes, that's long hair, you're so pretty, da-da-da-da. And it kind of is this like, it feels more belabored for people to be like, oh, you're still beautiful. Oh, you're still, you know, you know, you can manage it like that. We're just managing you like that is how it feels a lot of the time. So, yeah, I think that it's definitely not linear. I think that more days than not, I feel like I'm a, you know,
a fine babe.
Sexy, fine babe, fine girl, hot cake. Please don't talk to me anyhow. But, you know, there are some days where the hot cake is feeling a little lukewarm. And, you know, we're kind of feeling like fine girl, you know. So it's definitely not linear, but I also don't think it's anything outside of like normal stuff. We have the same face, same body. We wake up every day, look in the same mirror. As yesterday, I was feeling great. Today, I'm not feeling great. Tomorrow, I'll feel amazing. You know, it's just these things change with the situation. So I guess that's kind of been it for me. I hope I answered the question.
No, you did. We love this. I'm really glad that we're talking about this, because it's like nobody really talks about this enough. And then like when people see someone that is bald, like you said, it goes automatically to, do you have cancer? Oh my God, when I cut my hair and I was at work, this man was like, oh, did somebody die? Because like No, because like some cultures in African cultures, they make people like shave off their hair. So he was just like, "Oh, is everything okay? Did you lose somebody?"
I'm sorry, I would say people are so bold. Like people are actually so bold because if you're thinking it, why do you have to ask me, bro? Like the questions people ask, I'm like the audacity. Like you can think it in your head, that's fine. But you walk up to me and you open your mouth, did somebody die? And you think that's value. It's crazy. I'm so sorry. Because what if somebody actually died? Like why do you feel privy to that? Like, why do you think you need to know that? Like, it's crazy.
That's actually hilarious. Because, like, yeah, what if somebody died? I'd be like,
literally.
Yeah.
So I was just like, oh no, this is by choice.
Will you bring that back to life? Like,
I don't get it.
It's as if it's like when you're like, people don't see that some women can just choose to cut their hair. Like, it's okay. Like, it's not something that is supposed to be weird. So people don't talk about it enough. But like, what would you like people to know about alopecia if they're listening to this?
That there is not any one person who can properly educate you on how to interact with people with alopecia. Just people are human beings. Treat them like human beings. You know, understand that not everybody is at a point in their journey where, they're able to, just rock a completely bald head. Some people are, some people are not. Doesn't make them any less valid in their journey, doesn't make them ashamed. We don't live in a very safe world for people to look, drastically outside of the norm. Again, like, a lot of it, especially for like people like me, like women with alopecia, it's very difficult when you kind of are consistently getting your femininity stripped from you without your consent, and you kind of have to like sit in front of your mirror every day and spend a little extra time being like, okay, will this thing that I'm wearing make people call me sir or like misgender me or something like that? Like, how do I, make it so that, because like most days I'm just like able to let it roll off my back, but sometimes it just be messing up my whole day. I'm like, you looked at all of this fine and you said, sir, are you clean your eye, please? Who are you?
Goodness.
What? Like what? Who are you talking to? But all that stuff, just like being, just showing up as yourself is like, it can be harder when people kind of don't like act like you're really different or weird, but not in like an outright way, but just like asking questions they wouldn't ask other people. Stares, like people act like we don't see them staring. Like I'm like, they pretending to clean their eye. I'm like, my friends, they didn't born me yesterday. Like, it's okay. Like, I can see you. So, all that stuff. I think that also educating yourself, really important. There are a lot of there's a lot of information out there about so much. Like we said, Google is free. Like, just look it up. Don't make any one person with alopecia like your sole educator. And maybe this is me, my shameless plug. Like, stop asking me questions. Some people, I will say again, some people love to be asked the questions. And like, I do love to talk to people about like a more institutional level of stuff, like, demedicalizing this a little bit, not having it be like, oh, you're like, people see you and they see patient, people see you and they see like sick person. And it's like really unfortunate, and they think like, oh, you're so brave. Like, no, please stop calling me brave.
Yourself.
I'm just existing. Like, if you like, the other thing is like, I just feel like one other thing is most of the people that I've spoken to who have alopecia, like whether it be virtually or in person, do not want to hear you come up to them and say, I could never. My head is so lumpy. Like I could not.
Jesus.
I could never be. I couldn't do what you. I love it so.
Oh my gosh.
Because who
Why
said
do
you
you
message?
Literally. What
Yes.
is wrong with people?
Because they come up and they think it's a compliment. It's just like, oh, you know, man, I don't know what I would do if I had alopecia.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I mean, I've had people come up to me and say stuff like, "Oh, like it wouldn't look good on me if I cut my hair," or something like that. Because like, "Oh, it looks so good on you," something like that. But I guess, yeah, whatever.
it doesn't, like, I don't know. It's just not. Simi looks dumbfounded right now. She
I'm
said,
so stunned. I'm too stunned to speak.
please.
No, but it's the fact that you come out to somebody and say, "I could never."
That's what I'm saying. Yes! The audacity is just like, you guys are too audacious. Like, what?
And then, like, if I come and say something, I'm now angry black woman. Do you see the
Literally.
intersectionality? Do you see?
Literally, because
I'm like,
I will woz you if you come to me and ask me that. Like, what? That is ridiculous. I'm so sorry. Like, people
there
are
are
actually
tears in
so
my
silly.
eyes.
People are so silly.
Very. But, like, you know, ultimately, I love, I love people using, like, bald women using their platform. Like, there is the oddity. She is not just not have alopecia, but like she is bald and does go through a lot of the like issues with femininity and presentation and navigating the world, and like makes content about that. And she's just like literally the sweetest. And you know, if she should ever hear this, I want to be a friend, please. Like I want to be friends, please. I love her so much. Literally, when I have a bad day, sometimes I'll be watching her like get ready videos or literally just anything that she makes. It's just so I just love it. And she also encourages me to kind of like also talk about these experiences, because there are people with hair who don't think about this stuff, you know, whether it's like, oh, I'm trying to prevent getting sunburn on my head. Do I look at the weather and then wear a hat or sunscreen or both? Or a scarf. Okay, what will go with my outfit? It's just like there's some interesting little, like, at least for me personally, interesting little things I have to do. And, you know, like how does, you know, just like self-perception work and all that stuff. So it's definitely, you know, you go out and you dress up in a way that people won't call you sir. It's just like, oh, am I comfortable though? Like, oh, do I feel like, well, like protected, you know? Yeah. Okay, if I'm dressing up and I just feel comfortable, it's just like, sure, you're just like, I want to go home. So, yeah. That's
literally. It. But now that, like, because you guys, we're all young now, I would, like, people are dating and stuff like that. I am, and like you've mentioned, like, a couple of times, like, there's this association of, like, women and hair, like, I don't know who started it, but honestly, like, it's like, as a woman, you should have, like, it's not, it doesn't even say, like, point blank, like, you should have it, but like, yeah. So
inch bust down with the bang, you know.
Literally,
that was one of my fears when I was cutting my hair. I was like, there's this expectation that you're supposed to have hair, like you're supposed to have braids on or something like that.
Yeah, like there was even this TikTok like there's. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this TikTok. Before people want to swallow me, but like there's this TikTok that people ask like, oh, what's your favorite hairstyle on a black woman or something like that. Like, so there's a very, very strong association of like women and hair, especially I would say especially black women, but I don't want people to swallow me, but I think that is true. Like black women and hair, like we love, like I think from when we're younger, like they're always like, oh, your hair, like it's like ingrained in you. So like looking at that and like looking at you, like whenever you want to start dating or if you're already dating or whatnot, like do you have like a fear about that, or like how do you think? I don't know. My question has left my brain. But like, do you have like, is there any fear that comes with that? Or like, is there like any like thing like you feel like you should be wary of? Or like, are you like, I don't care, like free spirit, like whatever happens, happens. Like, how are you going to, like, how do you think you're navigating that if you're already doing that, or how do you hope to navigate it once you start dating and stuff like that?
I think that it's kind of become less of a thing for me. I think that, people's attitudes toward it have been something that have informed, or it's informed a lot of my views on it. And I think that I'm trying to like deconstruct that, because again, like that whole like brave thing, or, oh, you're so lucky, you won't attract shallow people because, if they see that you're bald, like,
somebody
that's
said that.
Like, what are people saying?
No, people be they say things like, oh, like, I don't know. For me, again, now we're here in this part of my story. I chose not to wear like makeup for this because like I'm missing a little bit of my eyebrow as well, because I think this is progressing to universalis, right? So that's basically where you lose like all the hair on your body, and people are like, oh my gosh, you're so lucky, you don't have to like shave or wax. I'm like, yeah, I guess being bullied for like 3 years of my life was so worth it. In middle school, having people pick me apart. I'm like, people just, I think, honestly though, I blame the internet. I think the internet has made us too bold. People think that they just, because they're sitting in their mother's basement and no one can, they can just say all sorts of orishi. I'm just like, okay, you try walking around with half an eyebrow. You try it. Will you be saying you're lucky? See what that does for your confidence. I want you to take a razor blade today, and I want you to just go in there. Just go ham, and then you tell me who is lucky. Because people, and I granted, I'm like, I wouldn't trade this for the world. But it is work. It's work because, and I know first of all, black women are constantly masculinized. Period. Yes. Yeah. Hair or no hair. And like people, and this like ties into the dating question, people will like be, there's this whole movement, and this could be a whole nother podcast episode about like, oh, being in your masculine and being in your feminine, this, that, like, oh, when you're dating, the man needs to do this, and that. If you're doing insert random, very neutral task, that's you being in your masculine, you need to, and I'm like, with this sort of like culture, adding that on top of like not presenting in the most like hyper feminine way is it's interesting. I think that, in terms of dating culture, I go about dating very differently than most. And so I feel like a fly on the wall, observing this sort of dynamic. And before I like, got to a much better place now, than I was before, I would be really afraid. I was like, dang, like if I decide that I want to wear wigs and do like a lot of makeup and, from my lips to your ears, Lord, because if I wanted to become a wig girly, I have to be rich. Another besides the point. But like if I decided that I had the money to be spending on wigs and installation and whatnot, like cool. Then we'd have people being like, oh, but she's bald though. Take her swimming on the first date.
Yeah. They do that to do you know Shalom Black?
Shalom. Okay, because first of all, congratulations on your baby. We love her.
Period.
We love her. I love Shalom Black. She was the first person that I watched when like I said I was going to just go bald. And like I most definitely like Be Your Own Kind of Beautiful was her whole brand, and I was just like, mwah. But that's literally what I saw. And I think that I would, internalize these things because they were done to me. It's just like I would see these things happen to other bald women, and I'd just be like, dang, the world is just so terrible. Like,
oh my god, yeah. Because I'm just like, things with like wig falling off. This is a separate aside. Why do people think that's funny? Like, that is not funny at all.
Pulling
like
people's wigs off.
I don't think that is funny at all. Like, I find that very, like...
Simi.
Because it's so...
Simi does not agree.
Like, you don't think that's funny.
Like, when somebody's wig should fall off. Like, not somebody dragging it off. No, that's different. That's bullying.
No, but I don't think that's funny.
If somebody's wig should, like...
I really don't think that's funny.
She's trying to get her composure.
The only time I think it's funny is like it depends on like the situation that I fell off, or like if somebody said that, like, or if somebody has been saying, "Oh, this is my natural hair," and then it falls off. But like, just in general, when I watch videos or like when I see somebody's wig fall off, I don't think that's funny. I don't think that it depending on the context though. Don't get me wrong. If you see me laughing, it depends on the context. Maybe if they were like, if they
people say, "We caught you in 4K, Florence. We caught you."
No, but like something like the ones that I think is funny is like if somebody I've seen videos of this girl dancing with her wig and then she takes it off or something like it falls off. I'm like, oh ha ha ha, whatever. But like just in general, people like to make fun of like.
Okay, there's an example of that. Like recently, there's this rapper singer, whatever, and you had himself London. She was performing, and she was rolling her hair, and then she did like this, like she bent her head forward and bent it back, and then the wig slipped. But then she now held it back and held it down, right? And then it went viral. That one, I didn't even think it was funny. Honestly, I don't know why it went viral
because I'm just like.
It happens,
like it's wig.
It's because of the territory. It's a wig,
literally,
because.
I think people think it's funny because of like this idea of like if you don't have hair, if you're bald underneath or whatever, like if that's not your natural hair, I don't know if people find something humorous about that, like
I really don't
that
understand.
thing of you.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't understand it, but whatever.
And even there's just so much.
Say what you were
like,
saying. Sorry.
Yes, no, you're so fine. Even with that stuff, like people just even with bald people, there are lots of people with alopecia who like, influence based on humor. There's like this one guy who has alopecia. He's completely bald and like he does things where he like sticks things to his head or whatever. And, that's your living your experience. Hopefully he's getting a bag, earn your money. Because if this world's going to laugh at you anyway, might as well get some money off of it. But yeah, people just really find it so like, and there's also like the fetishization of bald people, like bald women. Like people are so brave on the internet, so brave. Some of the stuff I've been reading when people like bald women influence and watching people say like, acting like, being bald is this weird edge case, and like bald people can just be like packed to one side and used for hyper that. Oh, what are you doing if the girl comes to you and she has a wig on and then she's bald underneath? Oh, like
such a stupid question.
I'm like,
because I've seen that before. I've seen questions like I'm like, okay, and
that's the type of stuff that I don't think is funny.
It's like, not even a sensible question.
It's not for real. People really think it's annoying, but whatever.
Yeah, I don't know if there was another question after that because you were asking about like the dating scheme and any fears. Yeah, like it was definitely a big thing for me, and I kind of just accepted like, because of my personality as well, I was just like, I'm gonna be I'm sure if you know me and you've asked me about dating and stuff, probably in the first couple of years of my university experience, I was like, I'm gonna be by myself in a mansion on a mountain with a billy goat named Bartholomew.
No, a billy goat.
Yes. And the only tension I will have to deal with is the tension between me and this goat, and whether or not I should make that goat into stew. So please, that's all I want. You people are your dating allies much, but now I'm like a lot more open to it, to facing those tensions and to calling them out when I see them, because it's just I can't like make myself small or keep myself from experiencing good things because I like have seen how awful the world can be, all of these what ifs. And it's like in this life is to learn to love God, love yourself, and to love the people around you. So, and that's again, back to our, a call back to our lovely person on the dilemma. Like genuinely, that's just what I had to do. I was just like, yeah, I'm here and I'm alive and I am surrounded by beautiful people. And I am, I have so many privileges that I cannot continue to take for granted. So, and, for me, what my grandmother would always tell me, and again, with this whole positivity on older Nigerian adults needs to be studied, but
literally,
she would be like,
for real.
She would be like,
it's crazy.
She's like, oh, at least, if this thing on your head is not there, at least inside your head is intact and your health is intact. And I'm like, part of me is like, well, grandma, that's like not the most sensitive thing.
It's
but,
when I
come down to it, when I truly come down to it, and I have to like zoom all the way out. I'm like, look, I could have hair and there would still be something that I could find a problem with myself.
Exactly.
I could not have hair, and there would still be something. So like, I always do my best to like remember, like, I am healthy and I am alive and I am so grateful.
Yes.
And it takes so much work to get out of that place when, you don't live in a world that like encourages you to see that anyway,
Yeah.
It's really hard. But like, genuinely, that's it. Like, you have that love that you're surrounded with, you really have to tap into it, and it's so easy to miss, there's love literally in the wind that blows through your clothing, the birds that you're hearing, there's love there. The people on this podcast, I can feel all of the love. And, you just have to realize that there's just so many more important things in this life than aesthetics. Because for me now, like, there are people who like that I'm bald, who have told me, like, girl, if you had hair, like, when you do put on wigs, I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, well, I prefer myself bald anyway. So, yeah, me too. I'm like, So, all that stuff. Like, and so it's just like, wow, there are people who are willing to support, and I'm really grateful for the people who are curious in sensitive ways, who don't come and ask me some, I'm not going to say what I love to say, but some questionable things. Yes, So, yeah, it's definitely a journey with this whole thing. And
I'm assuming that it's not linear. Like, again, some days might be good, other days might be, oh, well.
Yeah.
It's just like, well, gotta, go be like, I am beautiful. I'm going to put it in there. I'm beautiful. I'm lovely. I take my own breath away. Yes. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to remind yourself.
I have affirmations on my sticky notes on my.
Oh my gosh. I love that. Yeah. Oh, I had something else I wanted to say. Sorry, I could go on forever and ever. But you were talking about Black women and hair. And that's something that's a whole other aspect of this for me. Because I believe in the innate intimacy of getting your hair done by somebody. Like being close to someone. And I do my like I cornrow, twist, all that stuff, my siblings' hair. I shouldn't have said that. The people at our school are going to be like, oh, you cornrow, you twist. Please don't cry. I don't do that.
Advertisement. This is free.
No.
Braids, twists, tutus, and whichever one, pick and drop. Watermelon. She does all.
Hey, let's him there. Watermelon. Which one is watermelon again?
I don't actually know.
But yes,
I don't know.
Literally, like, I would do that stuff, and it's just interesting, to look at the Black dynamic of like having that be a two-way street, and then it being a one-way thing. Like, I could do my hair. So basically, yeah, like, it's just really interesting to think about that stuff because, like, at home, like, my mom will have me like cornrow her hair and all that stuff, and it used to be that, like, when I was younger, she would do mine, and like, yeah, it's just so, like, it's really interesting to me. And, seeing that dynamic and seeing when hair is talked about, there isn't, ever really at least a nod to those who don't have hair, whether it even be by choice or what. Because, like, there's just this, I think it's like a capitalism thing where they're trying to, like, sell you hair products and stuff. So, like, Black woman, your crown, and so it's like
Walmart. That Walmart is yes. It's so cringe. I'm so
cringe. So cringy. Like
that Walmart African section.
Yes, the crown,
crazy.
Natural tresses, and you're just like.
And those companies are now even owned by white people.
White people.
Thank you very much.
That's what blew my mind. I said, wow.
Thank you very much.
Wow.
Yup. The only thing Black is the models.
My crown. What do you know? What do you know?
What? That same crown. What do you know?
Literally.
That's so funny. But yeah. Genuinely, it's a very interesting world.
Very.
Well, Well, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. I love this so, so much. There's just so much to think about, and having alopecia is a very complex thing. So thank you for making space
Yeah.
for us to discuss.
Of course.
Yeah, no
Oh,
problem.
yeah.
What?
I would say
What
Adun's
was
our
that?
first guest this season. So,
Oh yeah,
Oh my gosh, that's so
you're launching it.
cool. Wow. New season
Yeah.
things. Hello. We are the openers.
Period. Let them know. Oh yeah, like Fine said, thank you so much, and like I really appreciate it. And I'm speaking for our listeners. I know that I think it's one of my favorite episodes. I feel like I say that all the time, but like I'm being real. Like this was such a great conversation. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast and giving us, some wise sage words from you, your parents, and your grandma. Like, how many people can pull that up? Not too many people can do that. You are one of one, so
thank
be
you.
proud of that. Exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah, but that is it from us at the Jigger Podcast. Adun, do you have any last minute words you'd like to say before we sign out?
I guess I'll say don't forget to drink your water. Take care of yourselves, and
That's crazy. Before you said that, I was thinking that I was like, drink water and mind your business. But I said
yes. Drink
I was
your
like,
water.
I'm not going to say that.
If you want nice skin, well, you said it though, and the people should listen. Listen well. If you want clear skin, drink water and mind your business. Don't go and ask bald women a bunch of random questions that you wouldn't be asking women with hair. Thank you very much. Because there are people with hair who have cancer too. So anyway, drink your water, mind your business, be full of love, write the good in stone and the bad in sand, and just live life to the fullest. Stay amazing. And y'all made me want to have a podcast, low key. People have been telling me I should start one. They're like, Adun, you have a podcast voice. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, but thank you. So, my debut, maybe we'll have a podcast. Maybe we won't. We'll see.
Yeah, let's see.
And then we'll bring Florence and Simi on the podcast.
Let's go.
Let us know.
Yes.
Okay, so we're signing out this week on the JGet Podcast. Don't forget to like and follow us on Instagram at JGet Pod. Send in your dilemmas with the link on our Instagram bio. Again, dilemma doesn't have to be about love. It can be about life, please. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Bye.
Next 2 weeks.
Sorry. Next 2 weeks. In 2 weeks. I feel like I make this mistake every time, but yes. Bye.
Bye. Love y'all.
Bye. Mwah.